Dear members, first of all, a happy new year. We hope that 2021 will bring you great health for you and your families, and we hope that we can welcome you as soon as possible at one of our drinks. In this talk show, we will talk to the new investment group Aris on their experience on starting a new investment group in this turbulent year. Also, we will talk to our activities committee on their plans for upcoming year. And lastly, we will visit Sina, the Officer of External Affairs of Ines Smitse, to see how they are doing as their bar is closed. And also we will announce a new activity that we'll organize with them. But first, let's go to our secretary, Kachi.
Welcome everyone to the first segment of Monday Momentum. And in this segment we will interview two guys from the new investment group, Aris Investment Group. Ruben and Ander, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Can you tell us a little bit about your investment group?
Yeah, of course. So I started studying here financial economics in Rotterdam. And I wanted to do something next to my studies. So I started my own investment group. And it's called the Aris Investment Group. And what I want to achieve is at the end of this, let's say 9 months that we started investing, that everyone is able to invest for themselves for the coming 30 years without making too much errors. And just because I think that's very important to just constantly invest for at least, I'd say, 30, 40 years over your life. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like labor and capital is kind of out of balance at the amount of return you get from it. So you better learn investing.
Okay, and for you?
I think of course, investing and being in that space is absolutely crucial for the next 30 years, for your whole life, to build up kind of just some savings and some pensions. I think it's important to already start early. And so that's why I joined, because I'm interested to also build up connections and meet new people and really get into that space. So yeah.
And you thought B&R Beurs was the perfect society to do that?
Yeah, I must say I didn't knew it before, but with the Eureka Week we had this introduction to B&R Beurs, and I thought nice, it's interesting, and I thought I could join a group, but you learn way more from setting up your own group.
So you also visited our market?
I was there, and that's where I get to know you. Honestly.
And that's why you decided to form your own investment group?
Indeed.
And how did you get in contact with Ruben?
I met him like on Eureka Week because we studied the same thing, and then we went out like a couple of months ago to a bar, and then he randomly invited me, so I was like, let's do it. I was very excited to join. So
it's also, I think it's a funny story.
Yeah.
Because I was new to Rotterdam, I didn't know anyone. And then I was like, I want to set up my own investment group, but it's kind of hard because you don't know people. You need at least 10 people to join you. So what I did is that while having drinks, and because in the beginning with COVID you could still go to a bar, I just met a few people, and at the end I had a Zoom meeting with 6 people combined to it. And we had the Zoom meeting. I recorded it, and then afterwards I just sent it to more people, and at the end now we're with 11 international, I would say mostly master students.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and can you give me an insight of your investment group members? So what do they study, gender, etc.?
Yeah, sure. So mostly it is men. We have 2 women, one from Brazil, one from Russia, and all our members are all from different parts of the world. Ruben is actually the only like 100% Dutch person in the group. We have members from the United States to the Philippines, to Indonesia and Brazil. Mm-hmm. So it's a very diverse group, and it's very important to have all their different perspectives. So
yeah, I think it's also nice because if you have a lot of international people, everybody has their own view on things, and then I think you can learn a lot.
Exactly.
For example, we have a guy from America, and when there were like the elections, he could tell us a lot about it because we don't know, I would say, as much as he does, as he's from the United States. Mm-hmm. So I think that's very interesting.
Okay, that's great to hear. And how is it like being the only Dutch as a chairman also?
Yeah, I would say I also went on exchange to Bologna, and there also met a lot of international people. And honestly, I just enjoy to be the only Dutch guy here, because it's just nice to see all the different backgrounds and stuff.
Okay, and how does an evening with Aris Investment Group looks like?
Yeah, so I also want to go on this, but I would say it's kind of hard now to keep everybody fresh and wanting to keep them engaged. To keep them engaged indeed, because we were not able to do anything out of a Zoom meeting. We never met each other like in real life. And I think that's quite crucial because it's not only about like learning to invest, but it's also more like for fun. But yeah, I think that's just these times, and I hope like in the coming months maybe it will get better. But we don't know. So yes, so a night with us, it's just on a Zoom meeting. What I try to do now is that I try to divide our group. We are with 11 in 2 groups, so with 5 and 6, where both the groups are gonna get into depth on a stock, and they can choose them themselves. So let's say one is looking into the management, the other one is looking into the financial statements, the other one is looking maybe into competitors, and then we give a presentation, and then at the end, after both presentations, we can like argue about things, and then normally we pick one stock or we don't, or we pick 2 stocks and then we invest in it.
Okay, sounds really serious.
Yeah, right.
Do you also host activities besides the general meetings?
We were trying to host some sort of getting together stuff in the coming months, in the coming weeks, if that's possible, in smaller groups, and maybe rotate to get to know the people a lot better in person. So that's something we're looking to do.
Okay. And what was the most difficult thing forming a new group?
Good question. I would say getting all the members together, because I didn't know anyone, and so I would say that's the thing. So that was the hardest part, and of course also with the broker, and that was quite of a shit show, I would say, because we got into at Bink, but my treasurer is a guy from Germany, so we had to like fill in a lot of things, do a lot of signatures. And I would say, that was kind of hard to get everything through. So we only started just investing 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But
I was very excited when you announced to me that you got a broker account. Yeah.
But we're already rising the ladder, so...
Yeah, that's true. It's a classic problem. And some investment groups do not have them until today. So you're lucky that you have a broker account and that you can invest as a new group. So if you won the Flow Traders investment competition, what would you do?
If we win it? Or
If you win it.
What will we do? Promote it, I think.
Yeah, promote it, and also like with the money, of course, the smart thing to do is reinvest it. But no, we would love to win, or at least get a great result from the competition.
And how would you do that? Do you have a strategy?
I think like throughout the past few months we've had some different strategies to explore different stocks. So we try to start with like every person had to look for at least 2 stocks, and really see in their preferred category and present it to the rest of the group. And then we had some meetings, some team meetings, to really discuss like, okay, which stocks do we pick right now? And as Ruben said, now we're split into 2 groups and really get deep into specific stocks. So that's kind of the strategies we're looking at right now.
Maybe it's also fun because in the first meeting, I think you weren't there, but then I kind of aligned our strategy and how I wanted to see it.
But you made it up by yourself.
Yeah. So how it is, it's called the wish model, because I think when you're investing, you first have to see where's your edge, and we're not quant guys, so we're not very good with mathematics, and I don't know, so we're good in economics. So in this wish model, you start with a W, and that's called the worldview. And in the worldview, you're just looking around and you think, what's happening with the world, right? So I would say now interest rates are low, monetary expansion is very big, a lot of money getting printed. But you can also look like things like working from home, what kind of impact does it has on some kind of real estate, for example. And in this way, you have a worldview where you can pick things out, and then we segment it down into the industry, which is the eye of the wish model. And so let's say, for example, you say interest rates are low, a lot of money is being printed, so we want to have, let's say, scarce assets, because normally they rise in value. And then you're going to look at this segment. You can, for example, look at gold or other stuff that is scarce. And then after the eye, so you have the industry, then we separate it down into the stock, because they like narrowed it down to like a few stocks. Mm-hmm. And after it, you can search like, hey, because of this and this reason, I believe in this company. And now we try to do a little bit about valuation, but I feel like that's very hard. And the market is, on average, I think, quite efficient in this kind of way. Mm. And then the last is the age, where you should have discipline, and You should know when to sell, when to buy, maybe have a stop loss in this way. And that's, for example, how we picked our...
Okay, that's the model you chose and you presented to the group already on the first meeting.
Indeed.
Yeah. And also an interesting thing about our team is a lot of people already have experience with trading and investing, so but from very different perspectives. So we have some people that are more into the technical analysis of investing and trading. Some people look more like the future projects or management. And then we have some people that are more interested into the cash balance and to see really how the cash looks and the cash inflows and outflows of the company look. So we have all these kinds of different perspectives in our group that trade on a different way, and that's really an interesting way to trade and to really see what investments are good and what are bad.
Okay, sounds great. So from every aspect you have a force.
Yeah.
And how do you see Ares Investment Group in 5 years?
That's a hard question. I don't know even where I am in 5 years, but I hope it's still...
3. We can also make 3, 2.
I would say I hope it still exists. And I think it's also based on how good we do this year, because it's easier to attract other members, I would say. But because most of us are master students, we're done studying after this, and everybody probably is going to go their own way. And we have a few bachelor guys who really want to keep going this investment group. So honestly, the best answer is I don't know.
Okay, but your ambition, what would it be?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it can grow into something beautiful. But I would say maybe at the end I want to have like an investment group who mostly is focused on sustainable things. Maybe at the end, because I feel like I see capital as an instrument of change, and the best thing is to invest into sustainable stuff and things that are good for the world.
Okay, and going back to the competition, would you rather win the Flow Traders competition or win a year free beer?
The student in me says, of course, the year free beer, but I think that the first one definitely. The
I also want to be the first.
Yeah,
I'm in it to win it, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why you also decided to join.
Yeah, of course. For myself, I'm quite competitive, so I prefer to when I start something and play a game, I'm in it to win it. What I already said.
Okay. If Ares Investment Group would have a theme song, it's a little bit of a fun question. What would the theme song be?
Yeah, again, the hardest part is that we only had online Zoom meetings, so that's probably hard to answer again. A theme song. Honestly, I can't come up with anything. Okay, well, maybe Ander.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, but something about money, but maybe the one like from 21 Savage where he sings like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 K M's in my bank account. Maybe that one.
Can you sing it a little bit for us?
It was like I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 M's in my bank account, something like that. Basically having a lot of money in the bank, so maybe that's the theme song.
Cool, we'll go for it.
Ours.
Okay, cool. And among the other investment groups, besides yourself, which do you think is the coolest?
Again, I honestly, when I started this, I did not meet any investment group because I was just quite sure that I want to.
You didn't want to join an investment group right away, just start your own.
I just wanted to start my own, so I also didn't look around for other groups.
Why? Why was that?
Because I want to start my own.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because I feel like you learn most if you even if you make more mistakes than the other groups, at least you make these mistakes. And what I already said, like in the future when I start working, I want to at least set aside 20% of my salary and invest it. So I prefer to make mistakes now that I'm a poor student than in the future when I maybe get a career and I start consistently investing. And that's why I'm okay with making a lot of mistakes and also drag the rest into it because it's not a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you just do it consistently, and I think like that's the most important part, to really do it. And also a lot of students do not do finance. You should understand how important it is to just always invest your money. Mm-hmm. Because for now it's just so out of balance, the labor and capital. You should just really invest your money.
And how did it start? Like your interest in finance?
Um, yeah, honestly, I just did at the University of Amsterdam. I studied first economics and business administration, and then I worked for 8 months as an accountant, and then I kind of had the half a year where, yeah, I was supposed to go travel, but at the end, I quit my job and I had nothing to do. So I started to read a lot of things about like investing, following some online courses and that kind of stuff. And I got interested in a few things, but I would say it's also how we are now exposed to in our investment strategy.
Okay, then that's it. Thank you for being here and for answering all the questions.
No worries.
I guess that was it.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, please, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your role as CEO of the Kaya Association?
Sure, and thanks for having me. It's the academic partnership side of Kaya is a very important one. And as we said in the green room before we got on, Rotterdam and Erasmus are near and dear to my heart, having worked for Robeco for many, many years and spent countless days and nights in Rotterdam, a city I know quite well and like quite a bit. So thanks for having me. So Alex, you said I'm Bill Kelly, the CEO of the Kaya Association. I'm starting my 8th year here, which is hard to believe. I came at the beginning of 2014 after having spent a pretty long career in the asset management space. And prior to Robeco, I was with a firm called the Boston Company. I worked in their asset management arm. A group of us left and started our own firm in 1995. We ran it as an independent asset manager from 95 to 2002. And then sold that business to Robeco. But having a vast array of clients looking for different solutions through this lens through the Robeco acquisition, it kind of got me focused more on alts. And before I joined Kaya, I ended up doing a lot of independent board work. And I saw more and more how alternatives are now being put to the masses in an opportunistic way, both good and bad. And we had this advent of liquid alts and UCITS wrappers and 40 Act fund wrappers, which as a headline, giving investors greater access is a very good thing. But I saw what was missing was financial literacy and education. And along comes Kaya, which I knew very little about, having really grown up in CFA shops. And the more I heard about the mission and the story, the more I said, you know what, this could be awesome. And as I begin my 8th year there, I've never felt more optimistic about opportunities for the end investor and the importance of education.
So, as you might know, BNR Beurs has quite a long-standing relationship with Kaya, a couple of years now. And each year, we are lucky enough to have your scholarships given to a couple of our members, right? So each year we give about 10 scholarships away. And for our new members every year joining, this year we had about 350 new members joining in our association. They might not be familiar with alternative investments or with Kaya itself. Could you briefly explain the role of Kaya Association in the financial industry and how students can benefit from the charter?
Sure. No, I think that's a very fair way to couch it, Alex. So if I take a step back, and then I'll get directly to the heart of your question. The asset management industry in the world is really an industry. It's not a profession. And I say that from the standpoint, and this is very apropos to the Netherlands, and I know this for a fact because I worked for Robeco. The first mutual fund in the Eurozone was started by Robeco circa 1920 some odd. The first mutual fund in the US was started by Mass Financial circa 1920 some odd. So we began as an industry long before professional bodies showed up on the beach ahead. So the CFA came around as a professional credentialing body in the 1960s. Kaya came around in 2000. The Certified Financial Professional, CFP, came around probably in the 1970s or so. GARP FRM was probably tucked somewhere in the middle of that time frame too. So if you parallel that path to, say, public accounting, where I began my career way back when, in the late 1800s, 1880, 1890, somebody named Ernst, somebody named Young, somebody named Price, somebody named Waterhouse said, you know what, we're going to compete by day, but we want accounting to be a profession where there's standards and ethics matter. And I think every industry loses its way from time to time, but that is an industry that grew up with professional roots, public accounting. We do not have that. So I think what we're trying to do at Kaya, I think the CFA is very effectively trying to do this as well, and an organization I have tremendous affection for, they are trying to retroactively professionalize a massive global industry. And one opportunity I think we have is that we look at the two of you as young professionals coming into this industry. You are the stewards of this business when my generation leaves the stage. It's going to be up to you to figure out how you can improve what has been entrusted to you for the next generation. And a big part of our curriculum not only has the learnings about how each one of these, I'll call them asset classes here because for want of a better term, but hedge funds, private equity, structured products, real assets, how these should be accessed and fit into a client portfolio with a massive overlay of ethics-based principles. And it's not, well, it's a program with ethics on the side. It's integral to the program as a whole. So as I think about the opportunity of working with Erasmus as an example, the ability to have an impact on the next generation coming up behind us is such an important thing that we must do as the current leaders of this industry, and beginning with greater education and greater awareness of ethical-based principles where the client must come first. But maybe to get into the mechanics a little bit of your question, our program it's a two-part program. It's given twice a year, every March and September. Not for the faint of heart. It's about 200 hours of study time, level 1, 200 hours of study time for level 2. Pass rates are sort of in the mid-50 range. And it really is an outstanding tour through each of these verticals that I had mentioned before, like structured products, real assets, hedge funds, the private markets, and giving you a greater understanding as to how these work. So you're getting this knowledge in a practical, pragmatic way, as opposed to reading it in a very biased way on the front page of the Financial Times.
How did the COVID-19 pandemic influence the different alternative investment sectors?
Now, I'll speak for Kaya specifically, and this is not patting ourselves on the back. So we quickly went at Kaya work from home. And this happened right in the middle of our March exam. And as a result of that, it started out okay for the level 1 candidates for the first 2 weeks, and then level 2 crashed. All the test centers got shut down because of COVID. So fortunately, the veracity of our candidates said, hey, I want to sit through the exam in September. So we said, this is awesome. But then we're looking forward and saying, is COVID still going to be with us in September? Naively, I think many people did not think it was going to stick around through the summer months, and this thing would run a cycle, and herd immunity or vaccines or something in between would take over. None of that happened. And we made a decision during the early days of registration to move to online proctoring. So any candidate that wanted to take our exam in any part of the world could take it from the comfort of their own home with artificial intelligence, with a camera in front of them, with a remote proctor. And we ended up seating the largest exam class in the history of Kaya in September of this year. So I think it really underscored the fact that we felt that our mission has got to be sustainable. And if we're going to say to our candidates, and then the client first aspect I mentioned earlier, that, you know what, we're going to have to take a couple cycles off because of COVID, I think that's a bad answer. Is online proctoring perfect? No, far from it. But we had done a fair amount of due diligence. We looked at the exam results coming out the other side, and we found no discernible difference from exam experience. And there's some kinks that still need to be worked out. But I think COVID forced organizations to make strategic decisions that normally might have taken years, and we had to make those really in a matter of days or hours. And I think the organizations that failed to step up and answer the bell, knowing you could make a mistake, probably ended up making some poor decisions by not deciding something at all.
With the current vaccines coming up, right, we have the US approving some vaccines, UK approving their vaccines, also a lot of them in India and Russia as well approving their first vaccine. Not to sound too gloomy, but do you think we were curious about your economic outlook, or how you see the next year coming up, what might be interesting, or what might be the next developments? If everything is gloomy, or everything is, or are you optimistic about the future, in the short-term future?
So I would say the short term less so. Long term, I am bullish and optimistic, and I think there's a lot of interesting developments. I think we're just starting to scratch the surface on the use case for AI and machine learning in many industries, and certainly in our industry. We just rolled out a new credential called FDP, Financial Data Professional, which is meant to bridge the gap between the data scientist and the more traditional analyst who are both involved in the same investment process. So I see tremendous opportunity, tremendous innovation, tremendous change for the good long term. But I think short term, I think we're just masking what seems to be a brewing problem. And if you go back to downtown Boston and all those stores are dark, how do they come back online? And then will the employer bring all those employees back to Boston? And some people have equated this situation with COVID to 9/11 in terms of what it did to the mental psyche of the working world, both before, during, and after. That was a horrible event, but it had a shorter shelf life. And there was a sense of resolve that we're going to come back and we're going to rebuild, and a certain amount of, certainly in the US, maybe national pride associated with it. COVID is going to be well over a year of lockdown, where I was on a plane almost every week, other than flying down to Atlanta to drive back with my daughter Abby right before Thanksgiving here in November. I'd not been on a plane since I flew back from London earlier this year. And those muscles atrophy. So I think we've got to figure out, what is it that the global employers are going to be doing? Is it going to be more of a hybrid model or back to business as usual? And then is that what the employees want? Because I think what we found is that a lot of businesses have worked quite effectively on a remote basis. Even a lot of universities have moved toward a remote platform. And as a massive pay of tuition with my 5 kids, I think something has to be marked to market in the US for going fully remote there, because I think it's shown that education to some degree, Erasmus aside, could be viewed as more of a commodity. And there's going to be universities have to set themselves above that should demand a premium price, but going in education proposition, it should be like buying an index fund. That you should be able to get that beta at a very low rate. And if you want something above it, you got to pay up for it. I talk to student bodies in the good old days all the time when I was traveling around the world. And I would very often get that question. The student would come up to me, maybe not in front of the full group if they were a little bit shy, but afterwards and say, hey, should I go and take the Kaya? And I said, well, tell me what you're trying to do with your career. And if I got an answer, well, I'm not quite sure, and I'm interested in asset management, I would say, go get the CFA. It's a broad brush credential. It's viewed as sort of the minimum tuition to identify yourself as a broad-based professional. And then the Kaya sits neatly on top of that. FRM does as well. But if that candidate is interested in alts, Kaya, absolutely. Financial planning, go get the CFP. And we do not have to be a one size fits all. And certainly for Kaya, we're very, very narrow, but very, very deep. So I do recognize that. But I think that any early professional should think less about how to monetize a credential or how to gather all these credentials because the future employers can be impressed. You got to think about this credential as how it fits into the mosaic of what establishes you specifically as a professional. And just because your friend or your colleague has a certain credential, it may or may not be the best fit for you. But I will say that professionalism matters, credentialing matters, but it's got to matter and fit for you individually in the mosaic of what you're trying to accomplish.
I think that's some great advice. And moving on from there, attaching that, we have over 1,500 members within Universe. This is the largest amount of students we had so far, and I think this would only help Kai even more in furthering your missions. But I'm sure they also are very curious about. This is going to be some fun questions, right? Some investment advice from you, the head of the Kai Association. If, for example, you had, let's say, a small budget, a student budget, do you see any interesting investment opportunities besides education right now? And where would that be?
So maybe I'll talk more generally because I always am hesitant, especially given I'm not an investment advisor, and I always get nervous about anybody taking what I say as advice. But a couple of thoughts, Alex. One that I'm completely ignorant on is the whole crypto space. And I'm not a crypto denier. I don't know enough about it. I've read some things about it. But I think that that's an asset class somehow, some ways here to stay. If nothing else, just a tokenization of fiat currency and using that as a better means toward affecting settlement. But I think that that is something that I think your generation and maybe the generation coming up just ahead of you are much more up to speed on.
So yeah, it's funny that you mentioned cryptocurrencies. Do you think in the future, whether in 5 or 10 years, when the cryptocurrencies have a more institutional quality, do you think it will be part of the Kaya curriculum? Because I could see it as an alternative investment.
Oh, absolutely, and it is an alternative investment today, and I don't know if it falls under the heading of exotics like wine and baseball cards and other collectibles, but I think our gauge is institutional adoption, and we're seeing some institutions have now started to make some small allocations to cryptos. Yale, I think a couple of years ago, was one of the first in their endowment. They took a very small piece, but a couple of the public pension plans are now dabbling in the space, and I think Fidelity has now set up a unit inside of Fidelity focused on this. So it's coming, and for us, it's not a question of whether or not we believe in an asset class or don't believe in it. If it's got institutional adoption, we want to cover it to say, we're not saying you should own private equity or cryptos or hedge funds or not own. We're just saying make your own decisions through informed consent wrapped in education. And if you can get that from our curriculum and you decide, you know what, not for me, we're just fine with that.
Do you have any questions for us? Some final questions that we could help you answer, or
No, I appreciate you taking the time. It is a group that I know a little bit about. I've met some of your predecessors before, and I know a tremendous amount of graduates from Erasmus. I remember the signing ceremony distinctly when I was over there a few years ago as well. So I hope to be able to get over there and meet you in real life someday soon. And I wish you a happy new year and stay healthy and safe. It's a crazy world right now.
Thank you. Yeah, we wish you a happy new year and healthy as well, and your family as well. So yeah, maybe perhaps if the situation improves and you happen to come by in the Netherlands and in Rotterdam, we could
absolutely let you
better
know.
interview or a better meeting. So it would be great. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. All right, Alex, thank you. It's good to see you.
Thank
Stay
you.
well.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Welcome everybody. I'm here in Café in the Smitse. I'm here with Sina. Sina, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. I'm Sina Wilder, 22 years old, and I'm one of the board members this year of Café in the Smitse.
All right, and how's it going so far?
Well, could be better. We had some small problems due to a pandemic, but yeah, the beer explains it all. Yeah, we've been closed now for almost 100 days, so that's not really that fun, but we also learned to cope with it. I mean, we knew when we started this year that this wouldn't be an easy year.
We did as well.
Yeah. And so we started, and well, I mean, like at first it was not really, it was really depressing almost to when the second lockdown came of all the bars and restaurants. But now, yeah, I think we make the best of it. We have fun. We still do a lot with the board ourselves. We do things that we wouldn't do in a normal year, like clean everything up, make adjustments. So that's pretty cool to do.
Yeah, did you make any large adjustments in the lockdown right now, or any plans?
Yeah, we like you guys did. We did a lot of things online with beer tastings and beer boxes that we sold, like the one over there. And we did a lot of things for our bartenders who now like don't have a single place to meet up anymore. So they don't have that. So that way we did a lot of online meetings and online quiz nights and those things. And with the beer boxes and the beer tastings and everything, we still do something to surface the outside world, let's call it that way. And yeah, on the major adjustments inside, yeah, we're busy with getting a new bar, or at least renovating this bar, because it's showing that it's becoming old for a student bar, at least. I mean, a lot of people have stood on here and all those sort of things. And we're busy with the floor and all those kind of things. So and that's something you wouldn't do in a normal year. I mean,
Yeah,
like
true.
You're busy every week. And you guys, you still do a lot of things online.
We do a lot of things online, a lot of online activities. Currently, we're also hosting all our academies online. We're publishing them on YouTube, actually, in the coming week. So all our members who are abroad and don't like the 4 p.m.
Curfew.
because it's 9 a.m. for them, can watch them on YouTube in the upcoming weeks. We have an online activity almost every week or every other week. I hope to do one here in the upcoming month, hopefully with the beer box and maybe a music bingo. You said you did something like that. So yeah, that's basically what we do. And our board year, I wouldn't say it's disappointing because it's still a lot of fun. I mean, we had a lot of fun in September and October, of course. We had some introduction drinks where we could not serve alcohol, but we found a loophole.
Yeah, we know. Sorry, government.
So we still had a lot of fun. I just missed the Constitution drinks a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I think we had three. We've been to three drinks, Constitution drinks.
Yeah, 2 for us.
Yeah, and we saw you at one. We still had a lot of fun. I mean, especially after. I mean, when you can't go all the way within like where was it in the Vibes or something, where we make the best. Yeah, we make the best of it. Besides or out there. So yeah. No, it was a lot of fun those first months, especially with you guys here every
Monday,
evening.
Wednesday, Friday. Yeah,
especially after closing time.
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
As far as we can remember. But I didn't know you had a lot of abroad members, or those are like people who are now studying abroad for a year or something.
A lot of international students. We have a lot of international members. It's almost 50-50, our association. And yeah, especially this year because of the coronavirus, a lot of the international students stay in their home country, and because all the classes are online. So great for them that we have a lot of online activities. Things like they can participate in things like a poker tournament. Oh. Of course, a cocktail workshop is hard. It's hard to send a package to America.
They can buy everything themselves.
That's true. So yeah.
Oh, fun.
All right, I brought you 2 of my favorite beers. This is Hertog Jan Karakter. I brought you this one because I have no character.
Oh.
So I need to drink this a lot to make myself a bit fun. What did you bring for me?
The classic, the Lef Blond. It's somehow it was my first special beer that I drank. Like as a law student, I was fascinated behind the story in terms of the law. In short, it was brewed by monks in an abbey. But and with the money that they gained from the beer sales, they spend all the money to keep the abbey in good condition and to live and to have food and everything. And somehow the place where in Belgium where it was originally located, it was really all about this beer, but also their brown beer and their IPAs and everything. And what happened was that somehow the international brewers they noticed that this small beer was really getting big. So what they did is like, we want to purchase the beer from you guys, or purchase or just purchase the brand. But no, purchasing the brand would be a problem so that they wouldn't have any money every year, which would come in, but just them making it wouldn't really they would have been able to keep up with the demand of the beer. So what they're now doing is every year they have like leased the brand to InBev, to AB InBev, our brewer, and InBev just pays a yearly fee to use the recipe, the brand, and everything. And it's I thought it was a really fun way for them. They don't have to do anything anymore.
So the monks can live for free now because they made a great recipe.
Sort of millionaires, but
all right.
So that's I really like the story behind it. It was really smart from the monks, and well, it's a great beer. I mean,
well, that's a good story. Now I dislike my joke. Thank you. All right, we'll start with your one because you have a light beer. I have a dark beer. Thank you.
Have a little competition who does it better. I'm not really good out of a bottle, but
yeah, excuses already.
Yeah. Yeah, you will keep a little bit extra. I'm not too. Oh. Hey, what are you doing next year? We need new bartenders.
I would be a good bartender.
Yeah?
I'm better at dancing on the bar.
Yeah. But that's also, it's a pre. Let's call it that.
Oh, all right. Great. That's great. All right. Cheers.
Cheers. It is the first beer that we let bartenders try to tap besides the normal Pilsner, because it's the glass itself makes it the easiest to tap. It's almost impossible to fuck it up. You can bleep that.
Were you a bartender before you started your board year?
Yeah, I was. Every member of our board is. Exception was, of course, Alain, which you all know from Biernar Beurs. He was an external. The thing of the Smits is that they will try to have a board which consists of 4 old bartenders, or 4 bartenders who are at least 1 year in the Smits, and 1 external. And that it's from the philosophy that a person from the outside may see things that someone who has been on the inside for a year doesn't notice anymore. And well, of course, Alain got a great job offer, so he left.
Yeah. I'm thinking of a board year here too.
Yeah.
Hoping I will get a call from Optiver as well.
Yeah, we'll see. It will be the next way to success. Do a board year in the Smits for 1 month and be rich.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was from 1 year. Some other people have been for 2 or 3 years. And yeah, after the year, I was like, almost in love with the bar, the concept, how everything went. And I also saw things that I was like, yeah, man, that we could do that better. Or like from a law perspective, I was like, I don't think that's legal, or we should be more concerned about how we fix things legally. So that's something that I'm also doing a lot of this year, all those legal things. But yeah, that was my motivation to do a board year. Besides the fact that I did think that I wanted to do some practical stuff before I went on to do a full-time job. I mean, you're young enough now, and I don't want to be a 9-to-5 person when I'm 24. But did you have the same thing or not?
Well, I joined BNR 3 years ago, and I immediately became an active member. I joined the activities committee.
It's also your committee now, right? Right.
Yeah, I'm now supervising the activities committee. So, second time in activities committee. It's, in my opinion, it's the most fun committee next to the introduction period committee, which you know as well. They were a lot in September and October too.
Yeah, they had quite a hefty.
Yeah, they have a big liver. I know. Yeah. No, but I became an active member immediately. I think from my first year, I already knew I wanted to become a board member for this function as well, activities and marketing. because I just thought it was a lot of fun. I actually didn't do it for my resume because I must say activities and marketing is not the best one to put on your resume. Of course, president or external treasurer is a lot better, especially if you want to work in the world of finance.
Yeah.
But no, it was just I thought it was a lot of fun, and it is a lot of fun. Of course, it's not what I hoped it would be, but I still hope in March, April, May we can host some physical activities.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, also because this year we've been beginning at a collaboration for Open Ur, like with the AFR and STAR. And of course now, well, everyone can know. Of course, we won't be hosting it this year in its full form, but yeah, it's still something that we can work to for next year, and still a lot of fun to at least have the idea that some physical things can happen in the future.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Still planning the festival in what form whatsoever. But yeah, I hope we can still do it next year because I'm really having fun with meetings and with you guys.
I'm also still hoping to be at your Constitution drink, maybe at the end of the year. You will enjoy it.
We will. I don't think you will.
Are you planning to merge your DS and your Constitution drink, or are you still trying to make that separate?
I think we will, because I don't think we will have a lot of time to host two large drinks. But maybe we will make 1 week of it.
Yeah.
So like from Monday to Friday, first of the Constitution drink, then the DS, and then an after party or something.
Nice.
Of course, we have a lot of social drinks to make up for. So yeah, we want to give a large party. I've been shouting it from the rooftops since the beginning of the year.
I know.
I want a large boat party. So yeah, if it's going to be Constitution X DS week, then the boat party will be the after party, I think.
I have such a bad feeling that when everything opens up again, everyone has postponed their activities for the last 2 months. We will have a period. It won't be good for our liver, our lungs, our heart.
A lot of people think that after the second lockdown, or the third lockdown is actually, it will become the Roaring 20s, like 100 years ago, because Jesus, off.
Slush.
Yes, slush. Everybody wants to party. I know from a lot of my friends that they want to have a gap year after this year, just so they can have some fun and do the things that I couldn't do this year. Because of course, if you're just finishing your bachelor and you want the gap year, or
even if it's your last study year as a master student.
Yeah, of course, everybody is young and they want to do a lot of fun things because they know in 3 or 4 years they can't do all that stuff anymore. So yeah, we'll see.
How are your first members coping with all of it? Do you have any idea, or?
Well, from the people that I know all the investment groups that we have still host their own drinks or online activities or in small groups, so they still have something to do. But of course, they miss a lot of things. They miss the real big and fun activities like the Christmas dinner.
The vibes.
The vibes, of course. Our safe harbor at a part. Of course, they miss all those things that really define B&R.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, hopefully we will make up for it. But I think, or I hope they have a lot of fun right now still.
Yeah, I must say I didn't know about B&R in the first 2 years that I studied here, but I got you guys. I saw you guys for the first time, like when I was when I was a bartender here. So somehow I didn't notice it, but I do think that when I didn't know it from the first or second year, I would have been a member. It was because every time you guys had a drink or everything, I was like, wow. And also investing is still something that I do want to do on a later stage in my life if I do have the money. Yeah. So yeah, it's really fun to see, and I didn't really know any other kind of associations that did the same thing in other parts of the Netherlands, which you guys, of course, used to expand now.
Yeah, of course, we have B&R Beurs Eindhoven right now, but it's not a common society, an investment society. I know there are some things in Amsterdam and in Groningen.
From students or more professional?
For students.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's also the reason why I joined. I had an interest in investing. I did some things when I was 16 or 17. Sorry, government. It sparked my interest. The first year that I joined purely because I wanted to learn how to invest, except just buying stocks and hoping for the best. But then I found out that it was actually really active and it had a lot of members and a lot of social drinks. And I think in just 2 months' time, I met so many friends, especially because I became an active member.
Yeah.
And that's why
it helps a lot.
Yeah, it helps a lot. And that's why I wanted to become a board member.
Yeah, great.
All right, and can you tell me something about the history of the Smitse?
It's a long one, so sit tight. Now, the Smitse, not a lot of people know that, but the Smitse originates from Delft. And
really?
Yeah. It happens because wat is bedrijfskunde in het Engels? Ja.
Business administration.
Business administration was located in Kralingen. It wasn't part of the Erasmus University, or then it was called like the Hoge Economische School in that time, the HES. And they went to Delft because there were places they could have been. They could join a university. They had office spaces, large rooms for classes. And when they moved to Delft, they didn't had a place anymore right around the corner where they could drink. Because in Kralingen there are a lot of bars, so they walked outside of that villa. It's a small villa where they were located, and they would just walk around the corner and they could drink there. So what happened is our founding father, Jaap de Smit, he thought of, hey, I want some place to drink with my students. So what they did it's really illegal. Sorry to you, Delft. They could make a room for classes, like a big room, and they asked like, what do you need for business administration? And in that classroom, do you need a beamer, or I don't know. At that time there weren't beamers, but do you need a charcoal board or anything? And he said, no, I need a good electricity outlet, and I need a water supply, and a place where I can put that water back into the sewer. Okay, we can do that. Yeah, it's for experiments. Business administration, experiments. Not the brightest minds in Delft somehow. And so he got that classroom, and what they did every Friday afternoon, they rolled in an illegal bar, hooked it up to all the things that the TU Delft installed for them, and they had a drink. And in that classroom was first known just as the classroom bar, a bit illegal. And later they said, hey, let's go in the Smitse, or let's meet up in the Smitse. And so the name in the Smitse.
That was the name of the classroom, the nickname of
the legal nickname, and it was just named after Jaap de Smit. And then that was the time that they also made that anvil that you sometimes see when you see some things of the Smitse, or it's now hanging right over there. You won't really see it, but
I can see it. Yeah.
And that moved to when they went back to Rotterdam, because business administration is more logical to have here. They went to the FG building, where now the Eureka Week and everything is located. Yeah. That place, with that small, glass roof, a bit underground, that was the first place of the Smitse in Rotterdam. And after that, we moved to Mendeville. That's where you had the door on the inside of the building. That
it was in my first year. You were there.
Yeah, after 4 o'clock, the door went open and the whole building smelled like beer. And then we moved here because we were getting too big over there. And when we moved here, we had like a 4 or 5 time growth of income. So that's how big the Smitse could become. And that's like, without all the hassle and everything, that all the bumps along the way, that's what happened to the Smitse. So we aren't really a Rotterdam bar, which we try to be, but well, as a guy born in Delft, it's proud to say that it's a bar from Delft.
But for how long have you been here now in Rotterdam? Not
In Rotterdam,
not here
like
specifically, but
since the first board is the board that's recognized as the first board in Rotterdam, so not in Delft.
so 7 years.
No,
6
no,
years.
it's like it's 11 boards. We are the 12th board,
Ah.
but the first board was for 5 years, and the second board for 2 years. So it wasn't really a yearly board by that time. So I don't really have the date back in my mind, but it's almost 20 years now. I think
Whew.
we're going
In Rotterdam.
Yeah, in Rotterdam. So yeah, it's big.
All right.
And we're now really a brand that's recognized across campuses, because like in Tilburg, where they also have a campus bar, people know the Smitse. So it says enough.
Yeah, you've won many awards, right?
Yeah. We're of course we're the biggest Hertog Jan buyer or like seller of Hertog Jan, and we have been selected to multiple times also this year as the best bar in Rotterdam. You've even been multiple times
This year as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
We've even been second in terms of all around in the Netherlands a couple of times. So yeah, we do well, and we're still really recognized. And I think it's still because of the fact that we're a student bar that does everything so professional and so good. I don't want to give myself.
Wanted to throw up again.
Do you need a?
No. All right, enough about the past. Let's look into the future, because that's the theme of this talk show. What are your plans for the future, for yourself and for the Smitse?
Yeah, for myself, I do know that there has been some talks between, and also with our advisory board and everything, that maybe we could be the first board in years that will go a second year, because well, if we're closed the whole year, that's not really that fun.
I know.
Yeah, but for me, I don't really know if I would do another year. I mean, like I'm 22 now, and I'm in my masters, and I want to finish that, and then I know I have a place where I can work, or at least I could ask if I could work there as a lawyer, and I would really pursue that. I would want to pursue that dream instead of just having another year and maybe let that skip by. I mean, it would be really. I could have some. I have some doubts about that. I mean, a lot of other board members still don't know what they want to do. And I want to be a lawyer and just specialize in company law and maybe also the things, a bit of administrative law, so like about permits and everything. So I could also help bars and restaurants and everything. So that would be a cool place to operate in as a lawyer. And for the Smitse, we have like a 5 to 10 year plan, which is important for us. And it consists of somehow expanding the Smitse, and talks have been about, like you guys did with BNR Eindhoven, maybe expanding to another city, maybe even growing bigger if it's possible. Well, like we're now to the edges, but who knows what our neighbors will do. And also be a lot more professional than we are, because we're already really professional. But for a place that makes tons of money every year, like literally tons, it's the first step is to try to even expand that. So yeah, that's maybe in the long term what Smitse wants to do.
All right, so making more money.
Yeah, not that we are allowed to put it in our own pockets, but yeah, we could like the bartenders. What they're free, like they're voluntary bartenders. But if with all the money that we get, we use it to upkeep here, to host parties, but also all the money goes back into the bartenders. So like we do a lot of fun events, like at the beginning of the year, not this year so far, but when it's possible, we go bowling, and we have unlimited bar, so we can drink whatever we want, and we go cooking and everything. We're completely off the map after that. We try to steal bowling balls and all those pylons and so.
Off the map. No, Sina, thank you for your time. Thank you for your lovely beer, and I'll see you in a few days, because I think I want to host an activity with your beerbox and
Yeah.
with you, of course.
Yeah, it will be fun, and I really hope we can have some sort of few fun months where we can still go all the way as board and well, have some constitution drinks. Not at the Smits.
I hope as well. But for now, let's make the best of it.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yes.
Hello everyone and welcome to the last segment of the second edition of Monday Momentum. With us here today we have Onno and Ferdinand from the Activities Committee. So if you could both please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what the Activities Committee does.
You should go first.
Yeah, sure. My name's Onno. I'm first year here at BNR Beurs and I'm a member of Batavia. And I also am a member of the Activities Committee.
Mm-hmm. My name is Ferdinand. I'm 20 years old. It's also my first year at the BNR Beurs. Also a proud member of Batavia. And also a member of the Activities Committee.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So I imagine most BNR Beurs members know what the Activities Committee does. But for new members who might not have heard of it before, could you please tell us about what you do?
Now, it might be pretty self-explanatory. We plan the activities that BNR Beurs does. Mm-hmm. So, for example, we did the bingo night last month, I believe. It was December, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the only thing we did up until now because we can't do really much at the moment.
Yeah, okay. I can imagine that you can't really organize physical activities. But do you have anything in store for the rest of the year, like in terms of online activities, or maybe even plans for physical activities when when it's time for those again?
Yeah, we do. We recently started the Crazy 88, which, if you guys haven't followed it, follow it on Insta, which every investment group can send their pictures of them doing the tasks. Mm-hmm. And I think January this month we are coming with the cocktail workshop. So everyone should sign up for that. Mm-hmm. And we have to wait if you can do physical activities. So looking right now, we don't think we can do it, but hopefully in the future. And for them, we have some cool things in store. So.
Okay, well, I'm curious. Okay, Onno?
Hopefully mid-February, because we think the lockdown date is going to be moved forward. So we have a couple of activities planned. We want to do the football tournament again this year, hopefully. If we can do sports again, maybe we can find a loophole there. Mm-hmm. And Jay, our committee leader, he has been talking about the boat party for an entire year now. So hopefully we can do that too.
Yeah, well, I hope. So about the Crazy 88, it kind of harkens back to an activity we had last year. Of course, you guys don't know about that yet. But how did you come up with the idea for the Crazy 88? Did you draw inspiration from the one we had earlier, or did it come out of the blue?
I think it came out of the blue.
Yeah.
I think people just remembered being very drunk at a Crazy 88 one time and remember having fun, so they wanted to do it again.
Yeah, it was just the first time when we all sat together. We just brainstormed.
And we still could.
Think about everything that we could do, and Crazy 88 came out of it.
Mm-hmm. And the assignments for the 88, did you come up with them yourself, or did you just Google Crazy 88 assignments and copy-pasted them?
I don't want to disclose this. Maybe we did.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, do people know what a Crazy 88 is, actually?
Well, you can explain it for the people who don't.
Well, for the people who don't, the Crazy 88 is a list of, most of the time, 88 things that you need to do. And if you finish them, you win. But this time we don't have 88 challenges.
We have just assignments in general.
Yeah, we're kind of lazy. So we just gave some assignments more points than other assignments.
And what happens if you win?
You get some prizes. Some very nice prizes.
We have a big prize.
So what is it?
The great winner gets, I think it's 100 euros for merchandise for their investment group. Mm-hmm. So I think that always comes in handy.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
And of course, we have the regular beer packages and wine packages. Mm-hmm. And a kratkussen.
And what,
Kratkussen.
Kratkussen? What's a kratkussen?
You know...
No idea. No, what's a kratkussen?
You have a crate of beer.
Mm-hmm.
You stack two of them together.
Mm-hmm.
You can sit on that. It's not really comfortable.
Uh-huh.
So a kratkussen is a pillow that you can put on top of it. So you can sit on your crate of beer.
Okay, fair enough.
Sit next to the chair.
It's a nice prize.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so you mentioned a little bit before how you came up with the Crazy 8, how you came up with the idea. How do you work together in these times? Because I can imagine you're not all meeting physically, so how do you work together during Corona?
Well, yeah, the first time we had a physical meeting, and we also had it a second time, so we can practice with taking pictures, because that's also a thing we do.
Mm-hmm.
If we have physical activities, we take all the pictures. And right now, mostly via Zoom or WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
So if every Friday we have a meeting, we brainstorm about ideas.